One of my favorite things in the world to do is to participate in brainstorming groups. In fact, I like it so much and find it so valuable that over the last 7 or 8 years, I actually set up three different groups of individuals, business owners, to brainstorm together about how to make their businesses better. Those were people who paid me every single month in order to be part of those groups. They were super successful until COVID threw us all into Zoom meetings, which were not quite as good. In fact, I've thought about doing spaces that would be all about brainstorming, but I know that that environment isn't as conducive to the brainstorming approach. Anyway, I'm up for ideas if you have some thoughts about how to create some online brainstorming that might actually work. And I'm not against trying Zoom again, but anyway, that's a story for another day. But this morning, I sat down and did some personal brainstorming about Optimus. And I really want you to take this all, not exactly with a grain of salt. This is kind of, I'm throwing out an idea theme, an idea stream, if you will. I'm not going to sit here and I could spend an hour trying to develop a few of these threads or trying to support them or to make the argumentation around them, but that's not the goal. The goal is to kind of establish a set of ideas that then we can talk about in the comments or whatever on both in the YouTube and also on X. And maybe it creates a conversation, or maybe it doesn't, or maybe it just helps you to get a better idea, or me to get a better idea as I even read this and probably change my mind while I'm reading it as to some of the things that I just wrote down this morning. Anyway, I have the goal, my original goal when I started out this morning was to work out various ways that robots will likely come to dominate work. And one of those goals was to prove that while Tesla is attempting to produce a humanoid robot that will be skilled across every possible way as a human, even more skilled, even a superhuman, that other makers will be providing good or good enough bots, good enough even some humanoids, or in other form factors, or some of them will be less expensive, just do a better job at a very specific task than the Tesla humanoid robot. I failed miserably at that task. And I'm going to ask you, maybe you can design a better, can you design a better human? I've seen people from time to time say, oh, it'd be better if humans had an eye in the back of their head or had better peripheral vision or possibly had a third hand. I mean, I very many times in the times when I've been doing something mechanical, a third hand would have really come in handy. Other people have had suggestions on other ways to improve humans. Everybody that watches this channel, certainly people on X, it's really, really obvious. I'm a sold out Christian. So I do absolutely believe that God created man and that man didn't evolve into his present position. So, in a way, what I'm doing this morning is contemplating whether there's any way to truly do anything other than improve on the human form. And by that, I don't actually mean necessarily a third hand or an eye in the back of the head. I'm just talking about being even a little faster or quicker at manipulation, being able to see different things, see different spectrums, or see with intense clarity for great distances or up close. Being able to do two things at once, being able to be super ambidextrous, being able to there's a whole long list of things that are kind of superhuman about the future Optimus. And can those things be done and make sense in a less expensive humanoid and/or another form factor like you've seen so many kind of dog-shaped robots out there? Is that a better way to go for some tasks? Anyway, so yeah, there is a reason why humans have completely dominated every other species on Earth. It isn't even close. The domination isn't even close. If we choose to kill all of some really nasty predator or some competitor, we do it. We've kind of concluded that all those competitors and predators might have a reason for being in the chain of the ecology. This animal, needs this animal to survive, and then that animal, eats this, and that keeps the grass level low. I mean, there's this equilibrium, in the natural sphere, which seems, you don't want to bump it too hard, or sometimes it gets kind of bad. But if we choose to, we eliminate these predators and these nasty things. The number one nasty predators that we have, the number one nasty things that do the most damage to humans are microscopic. They are microbes. Some of them are a little bigger. The number one killer of human beings is, in terms of another species, at least visible species, is mosquitoes. But if we chose to kill all the mosquitoes, we would. We could. It would be hard, but we could. We can dominate them. I can generally not dominate the one that's flying around my head while I'm trying to work. It's either a quickness problem, or it's just that they have super senses. I don't know why, but they get anyway. You know what I'm talking about. But things like lions, sharks, grizzlies, they're not even competition for we humans. We take them out one by one until we decide, no, it's time. We don't want them all to go away. All right, I know this is sounding all philosophical and stuff like that, not right now, but it's not really what I'm trying to get to. I love nature. I think you've heard me say before that I was a member of the Audubon Society when I was 6. I had collections with a friend of mine of every kind of rock, we were catching the butterflies and mounting them and doing all that stuff when we were barely in knickers. Knickers, what's a knicker? Anyway, when we're barely in adult clothing. What makes it, but the thing is that I'm a product guy. At the end of the day, I'm really a product guy. And what we have now is a new product. We have this Optimus thing, and the product needs to be great. And then you have to look at the competition. You got to look at the negative sides of it, because you can't just look at the positives. What makes it the most impressive product of all time becomes an issue when you're talking about Optimus. I've developed some things over the year that I thought were going to stop all bicycle flat tires, and pretty successful at it, still selling them today. But compared to eliminating all human work, all human labor, it was a pretty small challenge to try to overcome, and not nearly as what would you call it, important to the future of humanity. In fact, what we're looking at in the Optimus robot is making huge fortunes for some people and eliminating all poverty, and creating a world of abundance, along with AI and some of the other things that we're working on as a human species right now. Abundance for everyone who isn't under some dictatorial hand is seemingly maybe right around the corner. Well, other companies are creating bots that will not be able to do everything that a human can do. And some of them will do some things better than humans. Some of them will do equal some things. I do believe that Elon's plan is to make a bot that will do pretty much anything a human can do and do it better, or at least do it at top level. In any factory, if you have 10 employees doing the same job, you will find you have two. You'll have probably one that really does an excellent job. Maybe you'll have two that operate, substantially better than the other 8. Then you'll have, 5 or 6 that are kind of in the middle. And then you'll have 2 that you should send home tomorrow. That's just the normal distribution. So, that old bell curve. Well, in the case of bots, you don't have the bell curve, okay? You have every one of them being able to do everything that they do at the top level. And if that level is equal to the best human, that would be fabulous. But if it's actually better, faster, more accurate, never tires, etc., well, then you've got something pretty special. So a lot of humanoid makers right now and other bot makers are satisfied with, let's say, the ability to do pick and place. Pick it up over here, walk down the aisle, place it on a conveyor, place it in a box, pick it up, pick and place. Massive numbers of people, massive numbers of existing automation already do pick and place. It's not a new thing, been done forever, ever. There's always been pick and place. And you now have pick and place happening at a much more automated level, getting more and more and more automated. Um, but if you buy a piece of automation, you get a piece of automation that does that task. And sometimes that's fine. If you want a piece of automation that is going to move around the warehouse, it doesn't need to just move product. You put a box on top of it and it moves it down the line. It can be a conveyor belt. It can be, these little pods that you now see that are automatically able to go and get to their destination, by Bluetooth or something. You don't need a whole humanoid to do those tasks. I'm going to agree with that 100%, but you never have. You've never needed a human to do those. What you need a humanoid robot to do is replace the things that only humans can do. And if you're able to do that, they are going to pay for themselves over and over and over and over again. So some of these humanoids that they're building that will do one task better might be worth, 15 or 16 or $20,000, or maybe even $50 or $60,000, or $10,000 a month, or whatever the kind of numbers we've been throwing around. But in the long run, I think they lose out. As I see it, there will be a continuation of automation like we've been seeing, for 150, 200 years. And AI will now take your order at Taco Bell instead of a human who gets it wrong all the time, who's not always very kind, and who sometimes is hard to understand. Taco Bell will do that, and it doesn't need a humanoid robot. I think maybe I'm overstating my case. So now let's step around to the other jobs, though, at Taco Bell. Prepping the food, cooking the various components, assembling the final product, and placing those products into a bag. Would you believe it? There are companies that are building automated systems that are designed to do just that. But guess what? They're designing the food product, the end food product, to fit into that automated system. In other words, it might work really good for a ham and cheese sandwich, but try the same thing with a burrito or a taco. It's just not going to work. So yeah, you can use Elon Musk's, basic concept of designing the product in a way that makes it easy to manufacture, and that will work at Taco Bell if you want to completely change the food. But a lot of people don't want to change the food. They really like the way that it comes now. They like the way that it looks. They like the way that it's packaged. They're not interested in a change of form in order to get that same product, even though it tastes just as good. And maybe that'll be eventually what does happen. It could. But right now, what you want to do, I think, is you want to get that taco and that burrito made exactly the same way that it's made now, but you want to do it without human involvement. And that is going to be by using a humanoid. Another example, Elon has created at least three cars now, maybe four cars. Elon and his team have created 3 or 4 cars that are designed up front to be easy to manufacture. He's designing the bot to be easy to manufacture. He's changing things in order to make it easy to manufacture, but he can't change everything. As he's found out with the bot, he needed to put in, I think it's now 24 different little motors in the hands alone, which was not the original plan. Okay, it's not going to be as easy to manufacture. So you try to make it as easy to manufacture as you can, and then you have to back up and you find a way to do it that will give you the best result. Now, humanoid robots can step into human roles immediately with no change of equipment, no change of the layout, no change of the finished product. So they are less complex than the other equipment that you might do to do these things. The other equipment is a one-time purchase that, if you change anything, you got to get somebody in there to change how it works. If they break down, you don't have, with a bot, if the bot breaks down, another identical bot can come in and do the job immediately. If your piece of equipment, your $100,000, $200,000, $1 million piece of automated equipment breaks down, you can't just, let's go out in the back, let's grab another one just like that. We'll take this one out, put that one in. No, if one part goes down, and the equipment stops working, you're out of business until you can get the part and have a mechanic solve the problem. So, ironically, a human can take over for a bot. So if you run out of bots, if for some reason you don't have enough bots to do the job, you can stick a human back in that place. Anyway, I started to apply this idea to many other tasks in my brain that are needed done in factories or distribution businesses or bike shops, and things that I've written about, things that I've owned or that I've stood in. I mean, I can't tell you how many thousand bike shops. I mean, literally, I bet you it's over 1,000 bike shops that I have stood in the bike shop. I've been in the walked through and seen their mechanics area, et cetera, et cetera. I know a lot. And roughly once a month, I still go to my client who has a bike shop, and I'm in that environment. But I've also done, t-shirt printing companies, and I've done ceramic manufacturing companies. And I would just go down the list. I've been in lots and lots of manufacturing environments and know something about what happens there. And distribution, are you kidding? I've owned 6 companies that were in import, export, distribution, had a warehouse associated with what else we did. Anyway, I know something about this. And so I went through the building in my head, like, okay, what about that position? What about that position? What about that position? And basically, the answer is always the same. Traditional automation has a place and works up to a point. From there, it's almost always going to be better to put in an Optimus who takes over the rest of the tasks. And it's always going to be better to have this Optimus be one that is totally humanoid, that is totally flexible, that can do the job differently in 15 minutes than it did at last 15 minutes. That's going to learn on the job, probably. That's really amazing. That's never sick, that never, if it breaks down, you can put another one in. Maybe if it breaks down, like we've seen in some of the movies, maybe if it breaks down, it fixes itself. Anyway, then I went on to the hardest requirements. I was thinking about what are the really hard things that humans can't do? Well, we don't do a very good job of flying, even with some of these individual flying suits that we have now. It's basically that's what you do. You glide, you fly, but you're not going to be able to do some job while you're doing that flying. You're not going to be able to, catch, a raccoon while you're doing that and then take it to your nest. So birds, they're really cool, but that's about what they do. They fly, they catch their food or get their food or whatever, take it to their nest. They're not building other things or creating things or their talons are not that effective in terms of a bunch of different jobs. And I thought about underwater. Okay, fish have all these different capabilities, but their arms are kind of limited. Anyway, but I was thinking, okay, so if humans were able to be in a position to do something really superhuman, I think it would be under the sea. So what if, in fact, Optimus could be made completely waterproof, completely impervious to the pressures of the ocean and of the need to breathe? And of course, the parts would be, I think they're going to be titanium anyway, so they don't rust, they don't corrode under the salt. Anyway, what would be some of those possibilities? I mean, we have amazing possibilities in terms of mining, in terms of species identification, species that possibly would bring us new ideas, new approaches to do things. We have the possibility of setting up some kind of continuous operations at the bottom of the sea. Well, so call me crazy, but I think there might be more valuable opportunities deep in the ocean than there are on Mars. Except, of course, for that big one about having a place to escape to if we humans and or something like an asteroid were to destroy the planet. So anyway, use your own imaginations. Tell me about major jobs that humans do that would be better handled by some kind of a different robot form rather than humans. I can't figure it out. I really think that an excellent humanoid robot is going to be better than any of these other forms. Tell me about a job that you think would make more sense with just a $30,000 sort of almost capable human with grippers for fingers and otherwise less sophisticated that wouldn't be worth double that if it were to have all the capabilities that we think that Optimus is going to have, or he apparently is going to have. It. Anyway, I think that's a huge moat that Tesla will have long term. I don't think it matters because I think the demand for a superhuman Optimus type bot is so huge that there could be lots and lots of other makers. But I do think that the ones who are making these less expensive bots will eventually be completely wiped out by the ones who are making superhuman bots. So let me know what is my mistake here? Do some brainstorming. Tell me what I've gotten wrong. Maybe there's something I've completely failed to think of. That would not be shocking. Maybe I've thought about it wrong. Maybe I'm even going down a wrong path here. But I would love to know your opinion because guess what? Some of you who are fully or somewhat invested in Tesla, at least have a substantial amount of money invested in Tesla, are going to become quite wealthy as a result of what's going to happen with Optimus. So while we can't, I can't even pick up the phone and call Elon and say, "Hey, Elon, I got this great idea for Optimus." Sometimes these things percolate up from our communities. They percolate up from our communities by putting them out there and discussing them, whatever, and then somebody hears it and then somebody else talks about it. Somebody else adds their positive. That's what brainstorming does. That's the incredible power of brainstorming. So add your piece. Let's see if we can make anything smart percolate up that might contribute to our future stock prices. So later on today, we will have the regular Monday night session where we will talk about one of the biggest weeks that we will see for many, many months. One of the biggest weeks in terms of the reporting that's going to be coming from various sources, the Fed's decision, Elon's, going to give us a talk on Wednesday. So many things happening this week. So I will talk about what's happening in the news. This will be around 5 o'clock between the games. I think I'm going to I have to do it between the games. I got like a half an hour to put it together and shoot it between the games. Anyway, but it'll be, all the Tesla news that I can find, along with speculation about what's coming up this week. And then I'll do a show tonight at 7:45, as I do every single day. I have no idea what I'm going to do for that show, but I've got many, many hours to come up with an idea. So it's until then, last night, what did I do last night? Last night was absolutely amazing. Oh, yeah. Okay, listen, you need to be honest with me here. I didn't get a lot of hits on Robert Scoble again. Robert Scoble is really smart. He really has a lot of history in tech. He really, really has been down the roads. This is the second time I've done a video with Robert Scoble. The last time it didn't get, and it was really good. The last time it was a super good talk about Optimus. Didn't get many hits. Last night we did an absolutely amazing video about the robotaxis. Didn't do that well. Is there an issue with Robert? This is something, just tell me, send me a DM or send me an email or tell me publicly. Is there something about Robert? I mean, because he's really smart and he's really articulate and he really knows what he's talking about and he's bringing new stuff to the community. But he's not getting many people watching the videos I do with him. Anyway, if you can think of anything, but maybe you want to just go watch it, and maybe when you watch it, something will come up, and you'll figure out what's going on with Robert. All right, that's it. It's been great talking to you.